Hello aqua friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Nicole and today I have some cute little forest paintings with fireflies. It's the end of the summer skies and fireflies. So they are sort of abstract, they're done very loosely, and I used some salt, I used some silver leaf, and I also used masking fluid. So a couple different options for you. And I'm going to start off by showing you how I went about this. So the one with the bright spots, I used masking fluid and some magic eraser. A damp magic eraser will blur your white spots. Silver leaf and some glue just to get very fine dots to represent fireflies. So I'm going to show you how I go about doing both of these. First one here, I'm wetting my paper really well. And I'm going to use two colors. Basically, I am going to be using indigo blue and burnt sienna. So they're contrasting colors. They will play off one another and make some grays along the way. I do want a nighttime scene because I am trying to do fireflies. So just getting a good wash of the dark blue all over everything. Tilting my paper, I have a lot of water there, so just getting rid of some of that water. Coming in with some burnt sienna. So on the left-hand side, I'm doing a very full tree and just having some skinnier trees on the right-hand side. So a nice thick mixture for the foreground, darkening things up a little bit. This is all done wet on wet, and it is a one-layer painting, folks. So very quick and fun to do. Notice that I am holding my paintbrush up towards the top because I'm trying to force myself to do things very loosely. Adding a few more distant trees in the background. That is pretty much it for the painting part. Now I'm going to drop in a little bit of salt in the foreground. This is just going to add some visual interest to the foreground. We're going to let that whole thing dry. Now I am using my glue for the silver leaf, and I'm adding in some dots where I want the fireflies to be. I don't want too many. I'm just doing it very softly. Kind of spreading them out. Some high, some low. And while I'm waiting for the glue to dry, I am taking my round sponge and I'm just bringing forth a little bit more light into the background. It's very soft, but you can see those circular shapes. It adds a little bit more interest to the composition. Just basically little shadows of light here and there. I'm just taking the salt off now that my whole painting is dry, and I can go ahead and add the silver leaf to those glue dots that I made. You could use gold leaf instead of silver leaf. At the time, I only had silver leaf, and so I thought it would still be a good representation of light for these cute little fireflies. So I'm just using little tiny flakes of silver leaf that I had from another project, and you certainly don't need much. And then you can go ahead, sign your painting. You guys just created a masterpiece. Congratulations. This is the first little painting. I'm going to give you a close-up here so that you can kind of see. It's hard to see, but those little silver dots do a sparkle, and it's just so darn cute. So let's get into how I'm going to make the second one. This time we're switching to masking fluid with the dotting tool, and I'm going to add a whole bunch of little fireflies to my forest with my dotting tool. And you have to let your masking fluid dry really well for a good 15 to 20 minutes. Make sure it's dry before you do your first coat of paint. So I'm putting some dots bigger, some dots smaller, and some high, some low, and I'm really filling up my paper here with a lot of fireflies. Now that my masking fluid is dry, I can go ahead and do my first coat of paint here. In this little painting, I am using the same indigo blue with shadow green. Indigo blue, I'm going to cover this whole painting with this nighttime color. Switching over to my shadow green and holding my calligraphy brush right at the top. Forces me to paint very loosely. Just doing some trees. Same sort of composition with a large pine tree on the left-hand side. This is called like an L composition when you have a large object. You're meeting the foreground, the dark foreground, and it's like an L shape. So notice it's done very messily, very loosely in an abstract way, but you still can tell that it is a forest. All right, a few more really dark areas here. I'm adding my salt. So very similar to the first composition. We're just doing the lightning bugs in a different way. You're going to let your whole paper dry, and you can go ahead and take off the salt and the masking fluid. So we're left with these tiny bright spots. Now, to make them look like they're glowing, we're going to use either a round sponge or a tiny piece of magic eraser with some tweezers. I go ahead and I wet these tiny pieces of magic eraser. You don't want them sopping wet, but you do need them damp, and you also need your sponge damp. So I'm going to do a little bit of both, and it gives it some different texture. The round sponge will be a softer effect, but it does definitely make those areas look like they're glowing. Now, as far as these damp magic eraser little bits, they do pull up a lot more paint and they appear brighter, like they're glowing brighter. So it is kind of nice to have a little bit of both different techniques here. Now, in between rubbing these on here, I am redipping my magic sponge to clean it off in the water and wringing it out. So like I said, you don't want it sopping wet, you want it damp. And you just keep rotating that, and when it disintegrates too much, then you just get yourself another tiny little piece of magic eraser. They're quite cost effective. One magic eraser will last you a long time when you use it for lifting techniques in watercolor. Back to using my round sponge to get some softer glowing spots. So it's just kind of a fun way to make little magical forests. They make fantastic cards to give to friends, and I can't tell you how much fun it was to do these little paintings. So I hope you guys do give it a try. You'll have to let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Then you can go ahead and sign your painting. You guys just created a masterpiece. Congratulations. That's painting number 2. And here's a little close-up of this little cutie pie. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.